Hello, my name is Shayla Robinson, and I will be discussing the United States policies to combat the 2008 recession. In response to the Great Recession in 2008, George Bush signed off on the Economic Stimulus Act of 2008. According to Tax Policy Center, people who filed for tax return in 2007 or 2008 qualified for recovery rebates, which in turn lowered federal taxes by 5%, which ultimately reduced federal revenue by $120 billion in the years of 2008 and 2009. This in turn means that in the years of 2008 and 2009, that $120 billion would have normally remained with the government, but because of the recession, the government had to distribute the money back into the pockets of the United States citizens to encourage spending to rebuild the economy. Businesses also received tax incentives. Normally, businesses are only able to write off approximately $125,000 on their taxes, but because of the recession, the United States businesses were given a 1-year doubling of limitation, which means in 2008 they were able to write off about $250,000 on their taxes because the government was hoping that this would encourage investment. According to the IRS and the Tax Policy Center, businesses were also offered a special depreciation allowance for certain properties. This allowed businesses to claim depreciation of 50% of the cost of qualifying investments contracted for and placed in service during 2008, which in simpler terms means that it would be 50% cheaper for businesses to invest in 2008 than it would for them to in any other year. Then, in 2009, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Tax Act of 2009 was implemented, which would allow United States citizens to receive approximately $232 billion over the next 10 years in tax returns. And split between businesses and investments in clean energy, there would be about $55 billion to write off over the next 10 years. Along with this, Making Work Pay Tax Credit, MWP, was also introduced, and that allowed for individuals and couples who had an annual income within a certain range to receive a maximum tax credit. Those of whom were below that range received economic recovery payments, and those of whom who were above were not eligible to receive any tax credits. Finally, there was the Tax Relief, Unemployment Insurance Reauthorization and Job Creation Act of 2010. This act simply extended provisions of previously mentioned and created tax acts of the previous years discussed and years before then. The 2001 and 2003 tax acts were extended through 2012, along with other expiring tax provisions like reduction of Social Security tax rate and the extension of the above-the-line deduction for education expenses.